TK is the most racist person I know. You're listening to TKR. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TKR. My name is Riley, and I'm here with my friend and co-host, TK. How you doing, TK?
I totally didn't stay up until 5 a.m. and then wake up at 7 to do this. I'm good.
How are you doing? I'm doing fantastic.
I'm glad to hear it.
All right, so in this episode, we think it'd be a good idea to take a little step back and tell a little bit about the origin of this podcast and how we know each other and just a little bit more about ourselves. We meant to do this in the first episode and got horribly sidetracked.
We heard a hot take from Riley and then said, nope, we got to talk about that first.
So this is, consider this the origin episode.
Yes.
So you want to kick us off, TK? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. People call me TK, but my actual name is Tristan. So if you ever hear someone mention that, that is me. I'm 22 years old, and I do a little bit of Twitch streaming just for the fun of it, just to kind of blow off some steam. I like to play games. I'm into anime, stuff like that. And yeah, I'll let Riley introduce himself before we talk about where we met, just so we can get that out of the way. So yeah, where would you like to introduce yourself to?
Yeah, so my name is Riley. I am also 22. I do a lot of artwork. I don't like to say comic book art because it's not really comic book art, but it's art based on comic book characters. Mm-hmm. Your Batman, Spider-Man, what have you.
He's amazing at it, by the way.
Thank you. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to Marvel, DC, anything comics, movies, whatever it is. So you'll probably hear me talking about that a lot on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
When we switch to, when we get face cams finally, I will almost always be wearing some sort of Marvel or DC shirt or hoodie.
Imagine the first time we do face cam, you're just in a Batman costume. It's like, I'm Batman.
I think you just came up with our first face cam idea. I've got one on the standby. No, but so yeah, I've started doing some conventions recently where I'm selling my artwork. I post my artwork to my Instagram at RJD Studios if you want to check it out.
You should.
Yeah, and TK's kind of my con buddy. He we've only done one together so far, but he comes and helps me run my booth, and it's much appreciated.
It was really funny, sidetrack, because Riley, I had mentioned to him at one point that I think that he should, since he does artwork and he likes to draw, that he should sign up for a Comic-Con to sell his artwork. I'm like, it'll be fun. And he did it, and 3 months before the con had even come to be, he'd messaged me, he's like, oh, I got it, and do you want to be? I'm like, yeah, I got it. And so I think we're a couple hours distance away. And it was just funny because to see his reaction to me, immediately jumping up on the idea, it wasn't a discussion of, do I want to go or not? It's like, okay, what time do you need me there?
Yeah.
And if that gives you guys
I was just like, you want to
are.
do it? He's like, what's the date? When?
I don't even need to know that. It's like, can I stay with you? That's it. I'll be there. And it was so cool. The entire event itself was insanely fun. We met some awesome people. I'm so excited to keep doing it.
Yeah, I think that's the most fun part about conventions in general is just meeting people.
The amount of people, though, that thought I was the artist just because I talked more than Riley was so great.
Yeah, so I'm a little antisocial. So I was just kind of sitting there doodling, and Tristan was talking to the customers and the other people. He's my networking guy.
We literally got to the point where they have events after the cons where it's the artists can get together. They had a drawing for charity, or they had just all the drinking together, and I was just mingling with everyone, just because that's the personality I have. And I was like, "Oh, where's your artwork at?" I'm like, "Oh no, it's his artwork." And he would just kind of wave in the back corner along with our friend Bethany, and then they would just go back to drawing. I'm like, "Yeah, they're kind of like that."
Well, that's the thing too, is we were on a deadline. I hate drawing on deadlines because it was like, oh, I have to finish this piece for the charity auction before this event ends. And I didn't think it would take as long as it did because I was doing a watercolor piece. And then I was just like looked up 3.5 hours later. I'm like, oh, it's almost midnight. I guess I should probably turn this in now.
Bless your soul, by the way. He was drawing this for so long, and at the very last minute, he ruined it to his perception. So
No, I took a picture of it and I still look at it. I'm like, oh, I should have added like another. There's one part next to the mouth that I'm like, it needs a line.
it was so funny too because like the event started at like 9 or 10, and we were talking with our friend Bethany, who was also there, and we were all like, "Oh yeah, we'll only stay for like maybe an hour, so then we can get to bed because we had the con the next day as well, and the next day was earlier by far." And then 2 hours into it, I'm just looking over at them like, okay.
You're like, it's a big. You can call it quits now. It's probably fine.
Just tapping them on the shoulders like, you're done.
Yep.
But no, both their pieces turned out amazing. They donated to charity. It was a fun time. I can't wait to. I actually still have the signatures of the people that we met in my setup, and I'm very excited to take it with me and get them signatures again.
Yeah, and no, it's a smaller convention, more of a local one, but there's so many amazing artists.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out C4, Cherry Capital Comic Con.
Whoop whoop.
And we're hoping to do some bigger ones next year. I've already got applications filled out, so we'll see.
Might have podcasting at Comic Cons.
Yeah, live vlogs.
What we should do, we should get like portable mics, and then just somehow get headphones so where we could hear the other person through Bluetooth, and as we're walking around, we just like a phone call, but was recording through the mic.
Yeah. Dude, no joke. I've already started looking at like the lav mics, the clip-on lav mics. I'm so committed to this podcast and what we can do with this, with like supplemental YouTube content and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fully committed, dude.
And with that being said, let's talk about how we started this.
Before we get sidetracked again, let's get back to the whole point of the episode.
But before that, back in 1944, when I was first born.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start from the beginning. So TK and I think we met first in 3rd grade through a mutual friend.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Who I always thought you guys were cousins. I thought that's why you guys were friends.
We pretty much were. If I'm being honest, we were very close. But so that was the thing, is we were in different classes, so we didn't really ever interact. It was like exclusively at our mutual friend's birthday party. Even
like in middle school and high school, I think we've almost never had classes together because Riley's was, or it still is, in a higher academic level than I am. So every class...
was the correct term.
No, you still are. But like he was constantly like... He was just constantly in like the higher up classes, and I just did the bare minimum. So even like all throughout school, I think it was the bare minimum, like maybe 2 or 3 classes we ever had together.
Yeah. And so that was the thing, is even up until junior high, when your schedules are a little more intermingled, we didn't really interact much. I think it was literally just through like birthday parties and stuff, or outside events like that.
And then we got the same advisory. Oh wait, no, you didn't.
I would say, Ryan. Yeah. No, I would say what really got us close was those Tennessee trips.
Oh,
I think that's where we really started. So our school had this thing they called it traveling classroom. And the concept was every year, you would go on this trip for, it wasn't a week, probably just like 4 or 5 days, a weekend.
Yeah.
We would go to a different destination every year, and we would just, right, And so the first one, we went to Stones River National Battlefield in Tennessee. It's like a 13-hour car drive from where we're at. Yeah, and so TK and I went on the first one. And I want to say, like, obviously we were friends before that, but we didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, we weren't like the kind of people that would just text each other outside of events. It was more like if we saw each other, we can have a conversation, but it was more like passing by friends rather than like anything else.
Yeah, and so I think those trips were really where we soul bonded.
Soul bonded.
So,
why did you say it like that? Soul bonded.
Soul bonded. But yeah, so that's the funny thing is, the intention of that traveling classroom program was so that we were supposed to go to a different place every year. But the first one went so well down in Tennessee that they were like, I think we'll just go there every semester. I think that's going to be our go-to spot. And so we went on, I don't know, we did it every semester, I think. So it was like four or five trips.
I think there was only one that I missed, and it was the second one. But I went on the first, third, and fourth. And I think the fourth one was the last one they did, which is even funnier.
Yeah, I don't think they did any more than that. But so that's kind of where I think we really got close.
Yeah, because I think almost every time we either shared like a row on the bus. I think one time we shared. Were you in the van the time they took the vans?
Yeah.
Or were you in a different one? Yeah. So
I think we were in the same van
with the ball teacher.
Yeah, when you're in a 13-hour van with the bald eagle. I think yeah. So we actually were in the same advisory in 11th grade.
Yeah.
And so we just played like Blackjack. We just played like blackjack and euchre every day.
We had a whole betting ring that no one ever paid out because one guy, I swear he had to cheat. He never touched the deck. He never shuffled. But I swear, Ryan and Aiden, if you ever listen to this, I'm coming for you guys. Somehow, Aiden, it was his first time ever like playing blackjack. We taught it how to play it. And literally like every other time he played, there was no stopping this kid.
No. Yeah, and so we had a whole chart of who owed everybody each amount of money, whatever. And the school year just ended and nobody paid anything. Which is probably good. Which is probably good because it's completely legal.
Could you imagine, like, we get brought into the principal's office, like, so, you guys have a betting ring for blackjack? Like, no one ever paid.
No, what are you talking about? There's no exchange of money. It's totally legal. We're just playing casually.
It's totally legal, I promise.
Yeah, so obviously that, and then TK moved away the year after that.
Yeah.
And we obviously still kept in touch. we obviously still kept in touch after that, and we've continued to do a lot more together after high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where we're at. So this podcast, I've always wanted to do a podcast, just because I'm such a huge fan of podcasts that I like the format, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of like being in front of a camera because then I'm super awkward and self-conscious. And so like just talking into a microphone, talking with a friend, that's kind of a thing that I've always wanted to delve into. I thought it'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. And it was funny because I had a podcast with a couple other friends before that Riley was a part of, but he never got to be in it just because of schedules.
Yeah, it was a point in time in my life where I was very busy with college work, and between work and college work, I just didn't have a lot of time, so it didn't work. And then by the time I did have time, the podcast had already kind of fizzled out.
Because some people didn't dedicate their entire lives to it. Like, come on. I know we all lived in different cities and all had different times where we worked, but not dedicating your life to it? Pathetic.
Pathetic. Try harder next time.
I didn't sleep for 6 years because of this podcast.
But so that was the thing was, This is the first, and I don't know if you know this, TK, but this is the first semester that I haven't done school,
Yeah.
which is such a weird thing. Going to school, obviously up until you're 18, graduating, then going right to college,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden it's just like not doing that anymore. It's a weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so I knew would have a little more time on my hands, and so a few weeks ago, I think literally 2 weeks ago, beginning of September, I texted TK. I'm like, "You want to do just like a 2-man podcast? Just us talking for a little bit." And he was totally in on it.
What actually happened was, what actually happened was, hey, I'm visiting family. You want to do a podcast? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. He goes, okay, I'll call you when I get back. And then a week passes by, and I hear nothing. He goes, oh, I meant to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. I forgot about that part. But so it was like a week then. So I guess it was probably the end of August.
Yeah.
But we hopped into a call 2 weeks ago, discussed it, came up with the name, kind of just talked about what we wanted it to be about, I guess, which we determined would just be kind of us talking about nerd stuff, whatever.
Wacky, goofy, haha, fun times.
Wacky, goofy, haha, fun times. And yeah, so I started creating artwork that week. We started creating all of our channels and our accounts on stuff.
Had to beat up podcasters on Spotify for like an hour because it wasn't working.
Yep, Podcasters for Spotify. No, the Podcasters for Spotify was the only site that was working well. It was using that hosting platform to post on other platforms, which was the issue. But anyways, so it was pretty much like a week from the time we said, we want to make a podcast. Well, we discussed the details, and then like a week later, the first episode came out.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I think the night before we recorded our first episode was like us like, oh yeah, we should probably talk about this, and this.
Yeah, which of course we didn't talk about any of that because we got sidetracked, but that's what this episode is for.
We literally, like, before we even got on and started recording, we were talking for like half an hour about just gamer rage.
Yeah. Yep, today didn't even hit the record button. We were just talking about gamer rage and
like, no content.
All that content flushed down the drain. We lost it. We'll never gain those precious 20 minutes of podcast talk.
Quick, let's go back in time. Let's record ourselves and like, listen here. Record this or else.
Press the button.
Press the button. Count to 3. Clap. Done.
Splice it in. We'll be fine. They will never notice. That's another thing that's kind of funny too, is a lot of people, as far as I've heard, a lot of people like record a few episodes before uploading anything just to get into the motion of it.
Yeah.
And sort of find out what works and what doesn't. We were just kind of like, no. Like, let's just record an episode. Yeah, that's good. We'll post it. Which, hey, I think it worked out fine.
Yeah, actually,
I listened back to the first episode. I mean, I edited it. I had to edit the audio over and over and over again because of my stupid voice.
Your little mouth clicks.
My little mouth, it's so gross. I don't get how people like the ASMR stuff of like the gross, like on the mic, mouth clicking. Like, ugh. I spent like 2 hours just trying to de-click my voice before finally getting it to a point that was like, it's good enough. And by that point, the episode had already been uploaded by the time I found the proper solution. And so I went back and I replaced the audio, but the YouTube video is the only one without the replaced audio. So if you want to hear my gross ASMR mouth clicks, go check out the YouTube video.
Speaking of which, have you seen how it's done so far?
Yeah, no, it's been doing pretty good. I mean, pretty good for
a first
not
episode.
Really promoting it.
Yeah, what I find is really funny is, so when I looked at it originally, I looked at it like the Monday that we announced it. Which, by the way, we release every episode Monday at 7 a.m. I think we're in Eastern
Standard Time.
Standard, yep. So I looked at it at like 5 p.m. on that Monday, and we had like 4 plays with 100% of our audio coming from like a male demographic. And now we have 14 plays with now it's a 60-40, 60 being female.
Yeah. So thank you for the support on the first episode.
We
first
greatly
of all.
appreciate it. Like, honestly, it's great to like be able to see it grow. We're hoping that it can keep growing and hoping that we can give you guys some laughs. But thank you for everyone that's supporting us for the beginning of it. Because I don't think we really told anyone that we were starting it. And they were like, oh yeah, here you go.
Yeah, and that was the hard thing too, was we totally, so like the week before, whenever we first discussed it, we were talking about what would be a good time to upload it, and we decided on Monday mornings at 7, whatever, early in the morning, just so people can get it and, listen to it before work or whatever. We didn't realize at the time that would mean that our first episode is going up on 9/11. And so it like went up, and I was just like, oh, well, now I feel bad for promoting it on 9/11. Like, I feel like that's so...
Also naming it the pilot.
And so I was just like, I'm just gonna wait a day to start promoting it to people. And so I feel like that kind of had an effect on our plays and stuff, but it's fine.
It's
We're
all
fine.
good.
It's good. And I was at our statistics. I think Spotify, I guess for those who don't know, because most people probably don't, Spotify has a hosting platform where it keeps track of all your stats and posts it to other platforms. And so it keeps track of how many Spotify impressions, like how many people have seen it or found it or it showed up in their feed for whatever reason.
Yep.
There's like 193 people who have seen, like, at least found the podcast.
Oh, really?
Most of them through like searching, and it even tracks of like if they've searched it or it showed up in their library or if they saw it on their homepage.
Oh wow!
So like Spotify's doing a good job of pushing the podcast to listeners. So yeah, no, I mean, for not doing any promo, not doing anything like that, I think we're doing pretty good.
Also, quick side note, I'm looking at the statistics of like what platforms and what percentage. Make this make sense. So Spotify is 71, web browser is 21, and Apple Podcast is 7. Where's the last 1%? That's 99. Where are they?
Well, what's the other? Amazon?
But it doesn't show Amazon on here, which is the funny thing.
That's weird. That's kind of funny.
So if you're in the 1%, make sure to hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, it's cool to see those statistics though.
Oh yeah.
And that'll be helpful when we, start marketing and stuff to know our demographic to who we're appealing to. It's cool stuff, man.
It better be to every demographic because we're doing content that hits everyone right in their souls.
If you're not listening to this podcast,
we didn't use a Ouija board for nothing.
I don't know what you're insinuating, but that's not true.
I'm sorry. What is a Luigi board?
A Waluigi board.
What is an Ooga Wooga board?
Oh, I love that video.
That's one thing about us too. So a fun little tidbit about us. If we hear a meme or we have something, we will say it constantly. Me and Riley played Apex Legends a little while ago, like a couple days ago, and almost the entire time, every couple seconds, we're like, he's in the walls.
He's in the goddamn walls. I love that video. Yeah, so there's just we have very one-track minds. we get stuck on one thing and it just goes.
We should have like a whole soundboard thing of us just going like and then just going into a new topic, completely discarding the topic we're already in.
It's like that one improv game. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like somebody just like you say a line and then somebody says change and you have to word the line differently, and like we just do that where we have us like middle of the podcast, we hit a button, it plays a chime, and then we have to change topics out of nowhere.
So anyways, back in 1950, change. 955 is a great number, right?
So speaking of off-topic things, you know how I said I have an addiction to buying bootleg stuff?
Yeah.
In particular, bootleg Legos. I neglected to tell you the biggest part of that.
Oh no.
Literally, the keyboard that I'm using is built out of bootleg Legos.
Shut
My
up.
keyboard is entirely constructed from bootleg Legos.
No shot. Picture
I told you I had
or
them all
not
over my
true.
desk. All right, here you go. I'm gonna send one on Discord, and I'll post a picture on the video. If you want to see the video component to this, go
Check out
watch
TKR
our
on
video
YouTube.
on YouTube. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on it, and it probably wasn't worth it. But it's, dude, I need better RAM on my computer. It literally took like 3.5 hours to export the video.
Oh wow.
All right, I sent a picture. So there's this keyboard kit you can get from a company called
Oh wow.
KBD Craft, and it's basically the case of the keyboard is constructed out of Legos, so you can fully take it apart, customize it, put in your own pieces. I've got little minifigures clipped onto the sides. It's supposed to sound like the Lego building game, so it's kind of not clicky but clacky, if that makes sense. They're not clicky switches, but the way... You know what, here, we'll do a sound test. Ready?
All right, let's hear it. I hope you're clicking because we can't hear any of it.
Discord's probably canceling the sound out, but I can hear it on my end. I can hear it through my mic monitor, and yeah, it worked. I totally forgot that Discord noise canceling was that good.
I had to make sure that my voice mod wasn't on the narrator again.
The entire episode is just in the voice mod voices. That would be a funny episode.
Oh yeah, because we now know we wouldn't get copyright striked for it. Yeah. So side note for people that wouldn't understand that, because I posted some of my first streams onto YouTube just to have it out there and just see my growth and stuff like that. I haven't really done it recently, but besides that, one of the first 3 videos I posted had a copyright strike on it, and I thought it was because the entire episode I did like a voice mod. I did helium, I did deep, I would just interchange it, right? And eventually I just gave up on it. I'm like, okay, well, it's there, it's copyrighted, it's fine. But I thought it was because of the voice mod, and then come to find out it's because there was a clip of Hello Darkness, My Old Friend that was played from the Twitch side of it that was copyrighted instead of me being voice modded. And this whole time I thought it was because I was doing a helium voice, but it was only because a sound clip came in.
Just that one clip.
That was more
that I was totally the one who played. So I got you your first ever copyright strike on YouTube.
Well, it's even funnier because I don't know if you remember the whole clip of because I think that was one of the first times that someone played it. So it came up as Hello Darkness. I'm like, who you call me Darkness? Just a heads up, I am of African race. I forgot to mention that.
That's an important detail. No, that makes no difference. But I guess it's probably an important thing to disclose.
I mean, when we're talking about ourselves, it's probably relevant to mention that I am black.
So if he says anything off kilter,
That was one of the funniest out of context clips that we've got from the original podcast that I did with everyone else was I'm black, so if they say something racist, it's fine. And Julia's in no,
it's not. Dude, I started dying when I first heard that bit because it was just I'm black, so it's fine, and she's like, no, it's not.
But so I'm a huge proponent for people making racist jokes about me around me rather than behind my back, just because I like the thought of it being people understand what a limit is and then what a limit isn't. So you'll probably hear it as we go on longer that we just kind of bully each other in a way, and then it's always kind of that back and forth. So if you hear anything it's completely fine. This is what we're usually like. It's just fun for us, but we have that kind of sense of dark humor that goes along with it. And before like when that happened, I was like, oh, I probably should mention that to people so they understand that, like, oh, they're not just attacking me because of my race. It's just who we are.
Yeah. If it makes if it makes you feel better, TK is the most racist person I know.
Don't word it like that. Intro clip.
But he's allowed to be.
Okay, racist towards myself. Let's clarify that.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe I
even
shouldn't say that. Maybe we should cut that out.
It's even funnier when people realize who my mom is, because I'm adopted and I have white parents. So people, whenever they met my family, would be like, "What?"
Dude, it cracks me up how people just don't understand how adoption works.
Literally, like
they're just like, you have white parents, and it's like, yeah,
I'm adopted. He's like, but you have black siblings. Like, yeah, we're adopted. How else can I explain that? It's like, but
right.
I think the funniest thing that people came up to me, which I don't know if it was just a cultural thing because we were in such a white-based neighborhood, but people would always come up to me and my little brother when we were younger, like, oh, we can see you guys look the same. Like, no, we're not related at all. Like,
right, we're not blood related.
I was born in Oklahoma. He was born somewhere in Michigan. Like, we're nowhere near blood related. Like, oh yeah, we can see you guys related. Like, no.
You do have similar stature though.
I think back then more.
Like you're both very kind of lanky, tall and lanky.
Yeah, not anymore though, because he just be lanky. I think I like grew out a little bit, but back then it was both that we were like nearly the same height, being 2 years of an age gap, and then I think that was literally all it was. It was like we had like similar face features, but now there is no way you can.
There's no way you can look at you and say, yeah, no, you doing good. You guys are brothers.
Exactly. That was another thing. Small side note. Our old high school, I hate them. I will hate them forever for this. But whenever I went into the office for anything, they'd be like, oh, hi, little brother's name. I'm like, no, that's not me. It's like, oh, hi, older brother's name. Like, nope, that's also not me. It's like, which one are you? I'm like, I'm Tristan. I'm TK. Like, they have a brother? Like, I've been here as long as they have. I was the tallest one out of the three of us, and I was the only one that wore glasses. And they couldn't ever figure out who I was. It was so frustrating that they just... Oh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Only because I didn't get in trouble, which is even funnier.
Which is probably good.
It's so much worse, though, that they see me and immediately go to one or the other, because only one of the two of them would ever be in trouble on a day. And they'd be like, oh, what are you here for? I'm like, oh, I almost broke my leg. Can I have some ice, please? Like, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, which teacher sent you in this time?
Myself?
Yeah. Oh, it was just me.
I'm holding like my ankle at my head level, and it's like backwards. I'm like, yeah, so I broke my leg. Can you like call an ambulance? I'm kind of bleeding out right now.
I need some help here.
Excusez-moi. I would like to not die, please. Like, oh, sorry, older brother. That's not me.
Not me. Try again. You got 2 more chances. You have two more guesses.
If you get it wrong again, we're fighting.
All right, I want to take a turn here.
All right.
I'm gonna change the topic again. I want to talk. We need to fill our video game chat quota for the day. So let's talk about video games. What's your favorite video game of all time?
Ooh. Oh no.
Real questions. That's such a hard question, isn't it?
Why do you throw me? He didn't talk about this at all when we started to start.
This is unplanned. I put him on the spot.
No. Okay. Can I have multiple answers, or do you need to have only one?
Well, you can. It depends. Because there are other like genres. You can like something about one thing. So yeah, we'll give you multiple.
I think overall, my current favorite game is Apex Legends. But if I had to choose, like, for other things, for nostalgia purposes, I love Pokemon. And then, if we're going like a game that you have probably never heard of that I love, There's two. There was a Ben 10 game for the DS, and then there's a game called Golden Sun. I think it's called Golden Sun. Let me make sure it is Golden Sun.
I might actually have that Ben 10 game you're talking about.
Yes, Golden Sun. I don't think it's. There's a couple of them, but I don't remember exactly which one it was. No, shut up. Oh,
What?
oh, because I looked up just to make sure it was Golden Sun, and I saw that 30 years was bolded. I'm like, there's no shot. It was made 30 years ago, but it was made. The game itself, Dark Dawn, which was the second part of it, was made 30 years after the original. So
Okay.
Oh, I'm like 30 years ago.
30 years?
Like, there's no way. But have you ever heard of Golden Sun?
No.
It's honestly if Pokemon met like Digimon's off-brand cousin.
Okay.
So like you travel the world, and it's you and then whatever party members you get up. It's like you, and then you can have three comrades fight with you. It's like a turn-based game where you can choose to attack like this creature or that creature. You can use this spell for this amount of energy, or you can use a djinn to like use a powerful spell. And it was literally just you traveling this world to try to stop this eclipse that would release like this huge amount of power that this guy was trying to absorb. So it's almost like a treasure map kind of thing where you have to find where they are, go to them, and do all the missions that are involved into getting there. It's a lot of fun. I will say though, I got stuck on one part for, not even joking, I got stuck on one part for 4 months.
Oh my gosh.
It's because it's like a boat section where you're on the water, and you can travel to like any shoreland, and the water space is huge, but they don't ever specify like where you go from this point. This is like very late in the game. They don't specify what island or what shore you need to go to first, or what ones you need to go to just open up a new part of it. And because I was like 10 or 11 at the time, I didn't know how to look up on YouTube the tutorial for it. So I'm literally just going to every place, traveling to all. I think I got like 36 hours in like a week span out of trying to find it, and just couldn't. I ended the game with like 275 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And almost still didn't complete it.
Dang.
Yeah, but it's a great game.
All right. Now it's time for this week's edition of Riley's horrendous hot takes.
No.
I'm just gonna say it, Tristan. You're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me for the rest of your life for saying this.
I'm clutching.
The only thing worse than an RPG is a turn-based RPG. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance to whoever this offends. But I cannot stand turn-based gameplay.
Why? Why?
It's just so unappealing to me. Like, I get there's a whole strategy component to it, but it's like, if I'm in combat in a game, I don't want to just have like just the character standing there and then text options show up on the screen. That's so unappealing to me. I want to like actually interact, like actually engage in combat.
That is combat.
I can't stand it. No, but I guess it's just boring to me. And I know that's such a bad take because there's so many good turn-based RPG games, but I just can't stand it. I've tried playing the Pokemon games, but I just can't get into it. Because especially with Pokemon, it's so in-depth with like what characters, like what typing has weakness to other types. I just don't get it. It's just not fun to me.
Oh, that was a horrendous hot take.
Hence the title.
I find it even worse that you just asked, what's your favorite game? Oh, a turn-based game? Yeah, I hate those.
And it sucks. Like, I literally have an original copy of Pokemon Yellow sitting on my desk right now, just because I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna force myself to play through it on original hardware. That's the only way I want to experience. I've never played through a Pokemon game.
It's so funny.
I've never played through, and I guess that's the most popular example is like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Obviously the early Final Fantasy games and stuff. But like,
Oh,
no, that style of gameplay has just never appealed to me in the slightest. Which I hate because there's so many good games with good stories, and I'm like, I just don't. Because here's the thing, is I played, this is gonna sound so stupid. The only turn-based game that I ever slightly got into was Pocket Morty's. The Rick and Morty mobile game Pokemon ripoff. And that was how the typing worked. All the typing was literally rock, paper, scissors. And it works like normal rock, paper, scissors rule. So it was very simplified and I actually understood it. But it gets to a point where it's like, I can't get past a certain part. Nothing I have is, so you just have to like go out of your way to either level up your Pokemon and, you know, fight to train to level. I just never, I like linear gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I like having a start point and an end point. Like, so having to like stop what you're doing, go back to a different section to either get a new Pokemon or level up the Pokemon you have or do this. That's just never appealed to me.
Horrendous.
I know, and I apologize.
Are you sorry though? I think you should repent for your sins.
I should.
50 lashes.
Okay, so now I'll share my favorite game, and you'll give me your opinion on it.
Rick and Morty, Subway Surfer.
Rick and Morty virtual reality. No. My favorite game of all time is Portal 2.
Okay, that's good. Yes, I will give you that.
Okay, have you played it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I am such a huge... I guess that's my biggest thing, is I'm a fan of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever medium that takes is like just people who are able to write a compelling story, but also make the gameplay interesting. And so Portal 2, it uses, and I know I talked a little bit about this in the last episode, but environmental storytelling.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you have to take in every single detail about your surroundings, just like certain elements that a character might make a comment about, might not. But it's when you look deeper into those things that it's like, oh, there's a story here. So like Portal 2 has, and Portal 1, I guess. I think Portal 1. There's like these little dens hidden in the walls. It's in the goddamn wall.
See, I told you.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming back up.
I heard walls. I'm like,
But so, and there's just like these drawings of things that are happening in the facility or happen, and there's drawings of the character that you're playing as.
Mm-hmm.
Just like these weird cryptic messages, and there's like empty cans of beans, and there's radios just playing the same music on loop and different things. And so there's like this whole backstory that they don't even talk about in the game about there's like this character who's observing, who observed what happened in the first game. And then later they did release a comic about it, about this schizophrenic guy who was, he was an old lab worker at Aperture who was watching the main character take down GLaDOS or whatever. Anyways, long tangent short, I'm such a fan of that type of storytelling. And so Portal 2 has that story, and it's also got just really intuitive and fun gameplay that it's just so good. I love it.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Is Portal 2 not a turn-based action game?
No.
What about when you're waiting for your teammate to do something? Aren't you waiting for them to take their turn?
Well, if you're playing multiplayer... That's another thing that's cool about Portal 2 is like it's got the whole entire solo campaign, but the multiplayer is a completely separate campaign.
Yeah.
Like they built basically an entire other game that also has its own set of lore and everything. I've never had anybody to play through the entire campaign with. We need to play the Portal 2 multiplayer campaign.
Trademark.
Yes. That'll be our first Let's Play. TKR Let's Play on the TKR YouTube channel.
Also, about
I know we said that about Borderlands 3 in the last episode. we're just gonna keep talking about adding stuff to the YouTube channel, and we're just not gonna do it for a while. That's okay.
I think we should just quit our jobs and hope that this blows up, so that we can just keep doing it.
Okay.
And then we'll make a whole bunch of content within a week, and then just have it all set up, so then we can just keep going.
I'm texting my boss right now. Hold on.
But
no, that's what I'm saying is it would be so much fun So I guess context for the listeners. There's 2 conventions coming up in Michigan in November, and we're talking about doing both. It's 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about going down and just spending the week at TK's place, and we'll just record a bunch of content. We can do a few podcast episodes in the same room.
Yeah.
And we can just set up a camera, and I think it'd be really fun. But so anyways, I think that whole week we should spend just making content and seeing we can go. Because we could probably get like a month or 2 if we do weekly uploads on video stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We could get like a couple months worth of content done in a week.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It would be a little bit of a money investment depending on what we want to do, but I think that'd be pretty cool.
Shut up and take my money.
Because that's the thing, is we live in Michigan. Winters are very, very harsh. So, like, traveling back and forth to do stuff like filming content just isn't very viable.
Unless we do it by private jet.
Right, unless we get a private jet, you know.
Sponsor us, so we can do that.
Sponsor us. Private jet company, sponsor us.
We will totally give you a good review. If you give us a pilot, you pay for the gas for us, you give us the jet, and then we'll really good.
Yeah, totally.
Pay for everything and we'll say, yeah, it's good.
Yup. Definitely might be good for us, but not good for the environment. But if you pay us enough, that can all go away.
We'll name a kid environment and then give him all the money so then the environment is good.
Yay.
Yay. We fixed global warming.
We cracked the case. But anyways, so yeah, we've already got a lot of ideas of stuff that we want to do.
Yeah.
So hopefully within the next couple of months we'll be able to get some video stuff rolling. But for the time being, we're doing the podcast. Yeah.
All right. You ready for... Well, we have about 10 minutes left. Are you ready for the next game show? Or the continuation of the last one? Weirdest laws in America. Whoop, whoop, woo. All right. So if you guys are new to this, if this is your first episode, last episode we had a kind of trivia game where I have at least one law from every U.S. state, and then I have that one is actually a law, and then I have one that I have made up. So Riley chooses a state, and then I give him either the fake one or real one. It is up to him to guess whether or not it is a real one or I made it up.
Yeah, the real.
It's always real because I'm the president.
I'm just saying the real challenge here is remembering what states I chose in the last episode.
If I remember correctly,
I know we did Michigan. I know we did Texas. I think we did Arkansas. Anyways, we'll choose new ones.
We have not done Michigan, so we've done.
Michigan was the first one you did.
No, actually,
it was not. You can't buy cars on Sundays.
Oh yeah, but that's not the one I have on the list. That's just the one I have on top of my head. So you got Michigan still.
We'll start with Michigan.
Okay. So let's get to Michigan. Okay, in Michigan, they have a law for how big they can legally sell toothbrushes.
That's got to be made up.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, all right.
The actual law is it's illegal for a person in an offensive state of intoxication to enter or be on or remain upon any railway, trains, or interurban car as a passenger. So if you are too drunk, you can't be on a train or in a taxi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Can put that in the back pocket. We'll
Don't get drunk on Twain. Right, yeah. Where would you like to try next?
Let's go. I'm feeling Utah. Let's go Utah.
Utah. Okay. It's illegal to cause a catastrophe.
That's so vague. I'm going to say that's true.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
A catastrophe as widespread injury or damage caused by weapons of mass destruction, explosives, fire, flood, avalanche, or building collapse. And it is an actual law. You can't.
So it's what they're basically saying is it's illegal to be a terrorist.
Yes. What the heaven is causing a catastrophe?
That's in layman's terms. That why? Okay. It's illegal to cause a catastrophe.
I just love how they define it as weapons of mass destruction, explosives, an avalanche. If you could somehow cause an avalanche in Utah, or if
It's
you
like,
could somehow flood it.
I guess common sense isn't enough in Utah. Somebody did something. They're like, all right, well, now we have to outline this in the law that like this is illegal.
I want to know
Somebody
who
in
had
Utah
the flood.
caused an avalanche and said it was their like completely legal.
I want to know who caused the flood and like, yep, we got to put that in causing a catastrophe.
Wow, that's funny. All right, where are we going next? Let's go Maine.
Maine. Da 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 da. That one's really weird, so we're going to this other website in case I need a different one. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Churches have to have a star somewhere in them.
What? That's got to be false, right?
You think so?
I would think so. Separation of church and state would tell you that you can't, like, I don't know.
You're 3 for 3.
Woo!
The actual one, you can't skateboard on the sidewalks. The fine is $10.
Where? $10 fine? Dude, I'd skateboard and just pay the fine.
The original one, the other website I had up was no dancing on a bar that sells alcohol unless the bar has a permit.
Wow.
It's issued as a
Dude,
special amusement permit.
A special amusement permit to dance on the bar.
To dance in a bar.
Dance in a bar, sorry. Yeah, that's really funny.
It's like,
dude, I'm still caught up on that skateboard one. There was a bit, I want to say it was the comedian John Crist who said this. But he was talking about left turning on red, like especially at night when there's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you can right turn on red. I don't know if that's nationwide law, but it's Michigan law at least.
Yeah, it's not. I believe it is a U.S. law that you can. Actually, no. Okay. I think it's for less populated areas because I think like you can't do it in Los Angeles or Vegas because of how big the streets are.
Well, yeah, anything. I mean, it'd be kind of hard to do anything with like 5-lane traffic.
Exactly. So
constantly going through, but
I think it's with any like 3-lane traffic, it can like 3 lanes on one side is acceptable.
Right. Interesting. But anyway, so he had this bit where he was talking about left turn. He's like, I have like, he was like, the fine is like $150. So he's like, I have $150 set aside in my bank account at all times. Just so if he's just going to keep left turning on red, and if he ever gets caught, the money's just going to be there. And then he can just save it up for the next time it happens.
I imagine like the cops have like the square in their pocket. It's like, hey Dan, hey Bill, how are you? Swipe. It's like, thank you for your service.
Thank you. We'll see you next time. So that's how I feel like people are about skateboarding on sidewalks. It's like, it's $10. That's not going to stop anybody from skateboarding on a sidewalk. Where was that? Is this Maine?
Yeah.
Or Utah? This is Maine.
Maine. There was one. I'm gonna spoil it because it's really funny. I gotta figure out which one it was first, really quick. It was like you can get $1 fine for this. Oh, which one was it? I think it was like Wisconsin. Oh, it's West Virginia. So West Virginia has an honest to goodness swear jar. If you profanely curse, swear, or get intoxicated in public, you can be fined exactly $1.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Like laws like that crack me up because it's like at such a small amount, you're not stopping anybody from doing it. That's it. Like I'm just gonna keep skateboarding on the sidewalk and just pay $10 when I get caught. It's not gonna stop me from doing anything.
Well, with this one, the wording of it makes it seem like you can only get fined $1 per day.
Yeah,
because it says you can be fined exactly $1 if you profanely curse, swear, or get intoxicated in public. Which also
so
is funny.
No more, no less. So it's
Exactly.
like that's just one. You pay your $1, and then that's your swear pass for the day.
It's like you get pulled over in the back of a taxi and you're like completely intoxicated. Like, pay me $1. He goes, here.
That's funny, man. It makes you wonder where, like, who proposed some of these laws.
Just wait until we get the world ones.
Like, somebody had to feel so passionate about these causes that they were like, no, this needs to happen. They went in front of their state congress or whatever and pitched this idea. They're like, this has to happen.
I think it's either Japan or China. I believe it was more. I think it was more Japan. But they have a thing where if there's a husband and wife, right? If the husband is in debt, he can use his wife as the down payment.
Oh my gosh. What?
Yeah,
Okay, that has to be like a very old law. There's no way that law still has any merit today. That's another thing about that swear jar law is like, I guess it could have been from a time where $1 was worth a lot more. So it was actually bearing, but now it's just like $1. Oh, okay. State laws don't keep up with inflation, I guess.
I have to look more into it a little bit later because there's a lot of words in this page.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah. All right. Where would you like to go next in America?
We'll do one more. We'll do California. They've got to have some weird laws out in California, right?
Okay. Are you ready?
Ready, steady.
In California, in order to be classified as an influencer, you must have a following of at least 100,000.
Oh, I feel like that's got to be true, but what purpose would that have? I guess like tax purposes.
Mm-hmm.
You can proclaim yourself as an influencer, so you can start using stuff as like tax write-offs. I'm gonna say that's true.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
You went 3 for 1. That was mine.
Ugh.
The actual one is even funnier.
Oh no.
No eating frogs that die in frog jumping contests.
Frog jumping Why are there state regulations on frog jumping contests? Is this a California thing?
I have no idea.
They just have regular frog jumping contests in California.
Yeah. but here's the
so much so that they have to be state mandated.
So here's the funny thing about that, right? So I have literally 3 websites pulled up with each of them have like a different law for each state because I needed one.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 websites are about the frog jumping contest. So the first one's a frog that dies during a frog jumping contest cannot be eaten and must be quote unquote destroyed as soon as possible. You can have as many frogs as for a frog jumping contest as you want, but if any of them die, you may not eat them.
They must be terminated. That's funny. That's wild, man. What the heck? I've never in my life heard of a frog jumping contest.
My problem is all of them have said it must be destroyed as soon as possible. What does destroyed mean?
Destroy the evidence. Get rid of it.
They're talking like it's Thanos.
Right. Gone, reduced to atoms. That's really funny. Yeah, why? Right? Why? What's the purpose of that? I don't know. That's so funny. I've never. Now I'm curious. Now I'm gonna go like end this podcast recording and go watch videos of California frog jumping contests.
It's just so weird that like all of them are like, yeah, if they die in the line of duty, you can't eat them, but you must destroy them.
And it tells you that this is such a regular occurrence that they had to put state mandated laws on it.
Or that every website I've gone to has said, oh yeah, frog jumping contest.
That's crazy. I've never heard of that. That's really funny. All right, well, we're hitting up on that 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
So we're going to start wrapping up this episode. Seriously, thank you all for listening. Thank you for the support on the first episode.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. I hope you found some part of this episode enjoyable.
And if you didn't, get a humor bone in your body.
Update your humor module, please.
Yes, because we are the funny, haha, goofy, whack, whack, we are people. You know, I don't
Yeah,
know what the
what he
noise was.
said. Yeah, what he said.
But if you do like what you hear, please, please, please consider following or just sticking around to check out every episode that I release. You can find us at either TKR or TKR Pod on just about every platform except for Twitter currently because I haven't made that yet. I forgot to.
Yeah, we're on Instagram though. There's
Yay!
nothing posted on there, but we have an Instagram. Go follow.
It's real. We promise.
Yeah, it's real. All right. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.